Imagine the following situation. You wake up tomorrow and decide, that's it, I'm not going to utter another sound. I will spend a whole year in complete silence. Have you ever stopped to reflect on the consequences of that? What kind of impact would this attitude have? Would your organism transform? Would you lose the ability to express yourself through speech? Could this experience lead you to permanently lose your voice? What would actually happen if you spent a year without saying a single word? It's likely that all of us have said something and the next instant regretted it, thinking it would have been better to have remained silent. After all, communication is not an easy task for everyone. Sometimes you might express something and be misinterpreted, or people simply don't understand what you are trying to convey. This is the Facts Between Worlds channel. It's a pleasure to have you here. Subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this and support our work by leaving a like. This really strengthens the channel. We know how challenging it is to go a long time without speaking, because it seems that by talking and expressing ourselves verbally, we can transmit our ideas more effectively than just by writing. That's why we often prefer to send a voice message to explain something. If you were to write it, it might take 10 seconds, but when you send a voice message, it can turn into 3 minutes of explanation. Not to mention that speaking has become an act as automatic as breathing for us, so to speak. We hardly notice it, but we are constantly talking, sometimes speaking out loud about what we are thinking, or just rambling, talking about everyday things like, "It's cold today, isn't it?" Or, "Wow, I need to tidy up my room." It is for this reason, then, that curiosity arises about the possible consequences for someone who spends a long period without verbally communicating, such as a whole year. Since speaking is something we practice daily, would the interruption of this habit cause any physical change in our organism? Well, an individual actually did a similar experiment. He chose to go without speaking for 17 years, and after that extensive period, he finally decided to break the silence. After so much time, did he simply forget how to talk? Let's put the rambling aside and find out what really happened to this person. Going 17 years without speaking is impressive, but the American John Francis achieved this feat. It's hard to believe, but for him, it was totally feasible. It all started in 1973 when he woke up and thought, I'm tired of talking. I won't utter another word from today on. It was exactly on his 27th birthday that John made the decision never to speak again. The inspiration for the silence came after a major oil spill in 1971. As a protest, John stopped using any vehicle so as not to aggravate pollution. He also disseminated environmental awareness messages in his neighborhood, where he was seen as an idealist. However, he felt that his protests and appeals were not being effective and his message was not reaching the public. He realized that he seemed to be the only one truly committed to making a difference. Concurrently, he began to develop a certain neurosis, thinking he was talking too much and becoming a nuisance to others, acting somewhat inconveniently, as if he were always giving a sermon, saying, John was becoming obsessed with the environmental cause, feeling inconvenient for constantly preaching about protecting nature. Upon turning 27 in 1973, he made a drastic decision. He resolved to gift the community with his silence, spending his birthday without speaking. Initially, the community saw the silence as a new protest and even encouraged him. However, days and weeks passed, and John remained silent. His attitude caused concern, and people close to him unsuccessfully tried to make him explain the reason for his silence. The situation became unsustainable, and even his girlfriend begged him to start communicating again. His friends and girlfriend tried everything to make John speak again, but he was immovable. 3 weeks later, while living in Philadelphia, he sent a letter to his parents revealing his vow of silence. His father, alarmed, flew to meet him, but John remained silent. Through letters, John explained that the experience of not speaking pleased him and brought him peace. After 6 months, he accidentally let slip a few words involuntarily, which made him laugh because he didn't recognize his own voice. After this brief slip, he fell completely silent, maintaining the silence for another 10 years. In 1973, on his birthday, John decided to gift the community with his silence, as he believed he was being inconvenient. He spent the entire day without speaking. Initially, people viewed the attitude as just another protest, and even encouraged him to continue. However, days and weeks passed, and John remained silent, which began to worry everyone. Close individuals pleaded with him to explain the reason for the silence, but John did not respond. The situation became unsustainable, and even his girlfriend begged him to start communicating again. John's silence led him to study nature intensely. During those 17 years, he completed a bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree in environmental studies, in addition to learning the basics of sign language and traveling across the United States. Even after he started speaking again, he maintains the habit of setting aside daily time for silence and his inner peace, describing the period as a unique experience. John reported that, at first, his voice was a little different and his speech was hampered by lack of use of his vocal cords. However, because he kept his brain active with reading, his speech quickly returned to normal. It is important to note that John's case does not apply to everyone, as each organism reacts differently. Due to the rarity of people who voluntarily stop speaking, there are not many conclusive studies on the consequences. However, specialists advocate for two theories. The first, based on the idea of atrophy of non-stimulated organs, as suggested by Lamarck, states that not using the vocal cords, which are muscles, for a long period can weaken them, impairing the voice and causing serious problems. The weakening of the vocal cords, according to the first theory, would result in a hoarse and less clear voice, which could be detrimental to vocal health. But if John, after 17 years of silence, did not suffer major changes to his voice, why is that? Here enters the second theory, which disagrees with the first. It suggests that the vocal cords continue to work for other reasons. The speech muscles are used in daily functions such as swallowing, coughing, or brushing your teeth, keeping the vocal cords in motion. However, it is crucial to remember that these are just theories. There are no conclusive studies. Furthermore, each organism reacts uniquely. Many specialists believe that even a long period of silence does not prevent the body from emitting sounds again, although there might be some initial difficulty. Therefore, a brief period of silence should not cause major problems. Going on a silence strike for a personal goal is a choice, but if it's just due to irritation, the silence will not cause any harm. Because you're talking too much nonsense or because you no longer want to talk to someone, it won't cause any problem. If you go a long time without speaking, go to a corner, say a few words, just to make sure your voice is normal. If everything is fine, you can get back to your day. After all, if you can't stop saying foolish things, silence is the best attitude. Silence is the solution to everything, isn't it? And this, folks, was today's content. We sincerely hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you liked the video and haven't left a thumbs up yet, click here below right now, before it runs off YouTube, before it disappears from YouTube without a word. Also, follow our social media networks, which are appearing on the screen. Go there and send us suggestions for videos that you find interesting and would like to see here on the channel. Well, everyone, we're wrapping up here. Soon there will be a new video on the channel. Stay tuned, it comes out tomorrow. Thank you very much for dedicating this time to us. We'll be signing off now. That's it, folks. Thanks, bye, and see you later.